We in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! Here we are. Hello everybody. Hello world. This is me, Isaac, Perth City Breakers, PCB Show, and I have my guest Beast, Bboy Beast, representing Zou Rock. Sorry.
Yes.
Zou Rock Crew, Breaking Traditions. You're a
Yes.
teacher for Breaking Traditions, doing a lot, and Australian Breaking
Association. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, there's a lot going on for you actually at the moment,
Yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah. Before we start though, I just want to say a big respect to you and the work that you're doing here and all the other Perth City Breakers. Okay, so keep it up, guys. Keep it up.
Oh, thanks, man.
Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah. We all have to do our part somehow.
That's it, man. You're doing your bit. You're doing your bit.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I got here to learn a bit about yourself, what you're getting involved in, and what's next for Perth as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a big message to share with us first. I would like to dive into that first, actually.
Okay. Yeah. You're talking about the Olympic?
Yeah, about
the Olympics.
Australian Breaking Associations, because I don't know how long that topic will go for.
Yeah, well, it's quite a big topic. I mean, the Olympics, as I'm sure everybody knows, is kind of the pinnacle of all sports. The Olympic level is what we class in the world as our elite athletes. And I've always thought that the B-boys were at that elite top level in everything they do, and they had no recognition whatsoever.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Olympics being a platform for us to be involved in just simply opens up some doors that were just never available for us here in breaking, and it's really kind of exciting what might happen. I always think of if you think of Vale Tudo, style Vale Tudo, the martial art from Brazil.
No, I don't know.
You never heard of it? It's a grappling martial art. Basically, Vale Tudo is what MMA is now. So no holds fighting, okay? And it started off as a sport that practiced by a few people in little pockets around the world, and then became a spectacle when they turned it into the Ultimate Fighting Championships. And now MMA is the #1 sport in the world. And basically, there's a couple of things that are universal. One is fighting, and the other is dancing. And if you can combine breaking battles with that same spectacle as MMA, the sky's the limits, really. I mean, we could literally take over the popular sort of this popular viewing.
Yeah.
People will be very, very drawn to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because UFC is not that old, man.
UFC started in 2000, and it was really put on as just kind of like the BC one is put on as just let's do something for people to see this, let's see what it is. And what happened from that was they basically made it into a sport. They started going, okay, we need weight classes, we need regulations, we need rules. And that's what's happening in breaking. We're basically taking breaking and we're saying, okay, how do you fairly judge this? How do you specify this? And let's put it behind something. And then what happens with that is people go, okay, I understand this now. And now it's fun to watch. When you watch MMA, it's a boxing match, but that's not all of it. It's about the grappling, it's about the science of it, the strategy of it all. And that's the same for breaking. It's not really just about watching the head spins. It's about watching all the communication between the fighters or the opponents. It's about the context, the history, and the relevance of what they're doing. So it's very, very deep layered, and I see a real big future for it, man.
Yeah.
And the Olympics is really the first start in it. What's happening here in Australia is basically, as far as the Olympics goes, every country has been sort of left to their own. You figure out how to regulate your athletes. And in places like Korea and Russia, they've been working on that for a long time. So the ABA is a group of breakers from each state, sort of state leaders, people who've been there in the scene for a long time.
Yeah, Australian Breaking
Association, yeah. From each state we have a member, and basically the member's job is really just to start promoting breaking in that state and start putting together events and start categorizing our athletes and stuff like that. The real purpose of it is, of course, we're going to try and get to that one boy and one girl who will compete in the Olympics, but also on top of that, build a whole system of ranking and competition and sort of community and lessons and all this stuff, build it up behind that, because that's what every sport has. If you go to AFL, it has a little league, it has a juniors, it has a seniors, it has a pros, it has it has all that, and breaking really doesn't have any of that yet, so that's what we're working on. Yeah.
Dude, that's really exciting.
It's very exciting, man. I mean, I started off in the 90s, and literally, like, I mean, it was already past fad. It was already had its day and was done. And the cultural view of it is you're never going to make any money at it. You're never going to be successful doing it, and really, you're just wasting your time. And you know, a lot of people lived with that idea for a long time, and now it's come to the stage now where I envision in the future we're going to have that millionaire b-boy athlete celebrity. We're going to have that person who's going to be literally like a Usain Bolt, a Conor McGregor in the b-boy hip hop community. That's what we're going towards, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
Breaking futures.
It is. I mean, all exposure is great exposure, I say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And some people, like, it's evolution, you know, for breaking. We've got to evolve as well.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a scene for the other people that are not so much interested in the athletic kind of side of it.
Yeah.
You know, they just want to get down and party and vibe and so on.
Well, I always reference martial arts because I started off in martial arts, but if you take like the average martial art club, people go into that really just for the love of the participation and the love of the self-defense, the love of the technique, and they're not thinking about the Olympics. Those two things coexist at the same time, and they'll never infringe on each other, so there shouldn't be any problem with people going, oh, I'm a cypher b-boy and that's the way I want to stay, and I'm a competition b-boy and I want to be the best in the world. They coexist. You know, they're pretty much the same endeavor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. So what's the next steps for us going forward with breaking associations?
So basically, like I said, what we're trying to do is establish a ranking and a national league. And basically what that means is we start looking at each state's key athletes, the people who are putting in that time and commitment and improving, who've been here for a number of years, months, whatever, and have consistently grown. They're attending events, they're attending practices. And then basically what we do is we start supplementing their training with things that they might be lacking in. You know, for example, Perth has a rich history of power, but we kind of fell off that for a while. And the people who did all that power are still here in Perth. They're still available to teach. And it's just about bringing that knowledge to the people who may be lacking that knowledge. And people like Andre, who spent their entire life learning gymnastics, and people in Perth can't do handstands and cartwheels and things like that. So we should be teaching those skills and making an all-around better competitor.
That's great.
Yeah.
So they can really bridge the gap.
That's the plan that we're starting for next year. This year's been a little bit of a slip up for everything. We would have been a lot further ahead by now if there hadn't been COVID and hadn't been lockdown. We would have been doing a lot more events. But the plan for 2021 and from there on forward is to do 4 events every state. Every year, 4 events, and basically from those 4 events, we're going to pick the best in the state, and then eventually they're going to compete nationally. So it'll be the best in Australia, and then of course from then on forward, you go on into the Australasian Championships, and then go on into the European Championships, and eventually Olympics.
Right.
Yeah, it's a long process.
Okay. Yeah, but you still be representing your country.
You'll be representing Australia as soon as you pass that national level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so. Would they pick one or a few of the best in each state?
At the moment, we're only doing one-on-one competitive battling, and that's one boy and one girl. Yeah, there's no teams at the moment. Yeah. And if we were sending an athlete across, because it is a one-on-one competition, they wouldn't mainly have any supporting athletes. It would be them by themselves. There isn't really a backup team, or like if you get injured, you're out, sort of thing. At this stage. Eventually, it's going to get to the stage where we're going to have an Australia team. You know, there's going to be a team of breakers representing Australia, and a team representing each country in the world.
Oh, that would be great.
It will be good. Yeah, I can't wait for that. To be honest, I always think of like the sort of national pride that comes from Australian sport, like watching things like the cricket and the AFL, just the crowd sort of participation and the sort of involvement. Imagine that for like a breaking team. It would just blow my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, it would. That's crazy. It's hard to even picture.
It is
but
hard to picture.
They have that in like Taiwan and stuff like that, right?
With disease system, have you seen that before? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had There was a recent battle, right? Hong Ten and Hurricane.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the crowd and the way they were structuring. Is that how they would have the battles as well? That same format?
I didn't actually see that battle.
I never actually watched it either.
Didn't you watch the battle?
I heard it has like that time thing.
Okay.
90-second break, which is like, it's not how B-boys really do it.
So, I don't know a huge deal about this, but officially the system that we have for the Olympics has not been completely revealed.
Okay.
There are 3 systems at the moment that are working. One is the R system, another one, I can't remember the name of it, and there's a third one, again, I can't remember the name of it right now. They all have technical names, and basically they're just ways of scoring runs and stuff like that, yeah. And basically what we'll be doing here in Australia, same as every other country, is we'll be making up our own system.
Oh,
yeah, so we'll be judging it nationally on a national Australian system, and then that criteria will go forward onto the next competition.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
so
then it will change once you go international.
it'll change once the Olympics actually put down the structure of their rules and their systems, because it's still 4 years away, well, still 3 years away now, and they haven't actually put together their fair system yet. They haven't put together what exactly they're going to judge on.
Oh, okay.
So once we have those rules, then we'll have to adapt our rules to fit that. You know?
Who has the input in creating the system?
It's a mix. It's a very, very big mix. So the official history of what actually happened here in the Olympics is the dance World Sport Dance Federation have been trying to get dance as an Olympic sport for a number of years, almost 20 years now, and they have always been rejected on the athleticism part of it. You know, that it's not. They don't think that it's athletic enough. So breaking being the most athletic sport there is, or most athletic dance there is, they sort of push that forward as sort of like, well, look, this is something you can, you can judge on this. And what they've really put forward is not breaking. Breaking is not in the Olympics. Breaking battles are in the Olympics.
Right.
So, so it's not the same
1v1s.
as 1v1s. So it's the battle format that's in the Olympics. It's not the dance style. It's the battle format. Without the strategy of competing against one another, it wouldn't be a sport. If it was just like figure skating, where you're going out and you're doing your artistry by yourself and there's no opponent, then it would be hard for it to judge, because the moves are so random. But because you're competing against somebody, it's response. You know, it's conversation. It's your move and my response to your move. That's why they can judge it. So that's why I got into the Olympics. Yeah, and it's sort of a technicality.
Yeah, it is, right.
Yeah, sort of a technicality.
So there's no proper. You guys don't have a clear idea of what kind of format you're going to be using at all, though.
Well, I mean, we.
Like, would you do it, because you hear Dizzy saying his?
Yeah, Dizzy's is the R system. Yeah.
The R system.
R system, yeah.
And
so
that goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like they judge on execution, style, musicality, form. Form, execution. Is that the same?
I think it's dynamics they had put it under. I think it's what you said there. Dynamics and strategy is the last one. So strategy, battle strategy. Basically, ours is exactly the same as that. We judge on all those things as well. But being an Olympic criteria, there are certain things that you have to be able to hit. It's pretty much an amalgamation of all 3 systems put together. And really, we did that because we know eventually it's going to form into something else. It's going to change, become more scrutinized, and become more stricter as the Olympics develop into their system. So it's kind of like a building platform for them to change. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
it is exciting. It's a lot of work, really. Lo, who is our president of the ABA, he put from SKB.
Okay,
he's our president. He's put a lot of work into the actual making it legit, you know, because we can do all this stuff ourselves, and if it's not done properly, then anybody can walk in and sign the right forms and stamp the right approval and take over. But if we do it properly ourselves and do it systematically, business strategy wise, then eventually it'll be ours. It'll be something that we own, and if anybody wants to mess with breaking or to contribute to breaking, they have to come through us first.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of it.
Shout out to Loey and everyone else involved in
Yes. Shout out to the ABA.
You guys are taking it to the next level now.
We're trying to, man. Yeah, because I mean, it's going to get to that stage regardless. If we sit back and don't do anything, it's going to happen in
Someone else is gonna do it.
it's going to happen all around the world, and Australia will be sitting on their hands, and we'll be going, why didn't we do that 5 years ago? You know, so that's what we're starting to do now. You know, it's gonna come to that stage, regardless of what happens anywhere. You know, but if you're not ready for it, you're not going to be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Then you're paving the way.
We're trying to, man.
So
Yeah.
are you guys getting help, like funding and stuff? From, like,
We are a not-for-profit organisation, so we seek out grants and we seek out funding and sponsorship. But at the moment, we are self-funded. So we're doing events, and it'll be all community contribution.
You contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Contribute.
Yeah, we got it. It'll be all money funded from our doing events and workshops and stuff like that. It'll all go back from the community.
Wow.
And also, if you want to buy a T-shirt for the ABA, it supports the ABA.
Support them.
Yep, that's it, man. So yeah, at the moment, it's all going to be like groundwork. It's all going to be like real low key, but we're going to build it up.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, because the great thing about breaking and hip hop culture is it connects with youth culture like nothing else does. You know, once the people in power, the governments, the shires, the councils, start to see the sort of engagement that comes along, they want to start going, okay, we want that part of our programs, we want that part of our events, we want that. So it doesn't take long before it'll really spread on, and we won't be begging for money. We'll be sort of holding off people. You know? Yeah, hopefully.
Get to that stage, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So starting 2021, and then here we go.
Starting 2021 here in Perth. We're going to start for January. There's some big announcements coming up from the ABA regarding this year and what's going to happen at the end of this year, which I'm not allowed to mention yet.
Okay.
But there will be some big things happening nationally for Australian breaking. Because we can't get together, of course, most of that will be online, but it will be significant.
Whoa, significant.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
We're not far off to the end of the year.
No, we're not. We're very close. Very close.
Because you got a trial 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, there's like a trial battle, right? The grade 8. Is that what that is?
The grade 8. So basically, what we're doing in 3 weeks' time, November 15th at the YMCA, is we're having a pros versus protege battle. And basically what we're trying to do is there's two age groups in Perth. There's the students who are brand new in the sort of low, mid-teens, and then there's us and you guys. So you're a bit younger than me, 25.
26.
Oh, 26. Okay, so there's your age group, and then there's a massive drop-off, and there's that disconnect. And
huge gap.
There is so many students in Perth, we just need to bring them in, and part of that problem is basically because Perth is so vast, it's hard for parents to come to these places and feel welcomed. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to bring all these people in and say, look, it's safe. You can leave your kids here, they can train, they can jam, and everything will be fine, and then become more involved in the community, So that's kind of what we're trying to do. So on November 15th at the YMCA, which is a Sunday, 12 to 3 p.m. we're going to be doing the event. It's a all-style, no it's not, it's an all-school battle. So we got Studio Dre, we got TDC, we got my own school, Breaking Traditions, we got some kids from Peto's school, we got, who else we got? Oh yes, we got Freestyle Edge coming through, that's Raz and Viz class. Oh, nice. And we're going to have like an IBE all school versus all school battles. And then you guys are going to be involved in the pros versus proteges. We're going to team you up with some of the best. And
cool.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Team up with some of the kids.
Team up with some of the kids and see what you can do. Yeah,
that'll be so fun.
It'll be fun, man, yeah. And really, this is going to be sort of typical of what we're doing in a breaking. We're going to try and bring as many people involved as possible. It's been so long now that it's been like a little niche thing that happens in this little club or warehouse somewhere away from everywhere, and nobody in the general public ever hears about it. We want to bring it right now to the middle of the big events. We want to go to the Fringe Festival, we want to go to the night markets, we want to do all those things. We want to bring it to the people and just let people see the quality of the culture. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. If you need any help as well, man, with that, with the exposure or something, if I can
well,
help
this is helping. This is helping me a lot, man.
As well, for sure. If you want me to help get involved, I'd like to.
Yeah, awesome, man.
And okay, so you haven't heard from the Australian Olympic team at all, Olympic committee?
Well, the way
They don't actually talk to you.
No, the chain of command actually goes basically.
Because it's in 4 years, man.
4 years, yes.
And they haven't spoken to you guys.
Well, they have, but the way it works is basically the people who run dance in the Olympics are the World Dance Sport Federation,
right.
And they're basically their own body. So that jam we did in Mandurah last year down at there, that's part of the World Sports Dance Federation. Basically, what we have to do is we have to build a system for our judging, because they don't know how to judge us.
Yeah, okay.
They have no idea how to do our events. So that's the event we did for them was organised by me as a taster to show that alumni, that group people, what a battle actually is, because they've never seen it. They know breaking's going to the Olympics, but they don't know how to judge it. So we build a system, and then basically they push that system through to the Olympics.
Right.
So that's the way it works. And basically, the idea behind it is they are building something that they can eventually funnel funding through to us. You know, because all the money will have to come, all the Olympic money, all the sport federation money will have to come through them first. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we're kind of like we're kind of building this system in a sense for one day we're going to sort of let it go. And it'll be already established, and it'll be something it'll just self-sustain. You know, we have to put it together now and make it stick and make it viable. And then once that happens, and the Dance Sports Federation guys get a hold of it, and it becomes a regulated system, then we're sort of free to do the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's interesting.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this for us.
It's for me, man. I mean. Yeah, it's for me. I just couldn't really give up, and I've always wanted to sort of like leave something behind as far as like a dance career will end eventually, and I want to leave something behind and leave the place better than I found it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
well, that's amazing, man.
That's
I mean,
it.
even if you like, you know, we age and stuff, so we can't always keep doing crazy things, you know, but we can always be a part of it, right?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, like I like what you're doing. You have had Maze, you've had Andre, you've had Ben Lee on this stuff, and these guys have amazing insights about Perth history and knowledge about the dance and how it evolved here in Western Australia. And unfortunately, if you sort of step away from the cypher, you step away from the training session, you kind of get forgot quite quickly. Yeah. So you know, you got to keep that participation. You got to keep involved. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're doing so much for Australia, but you're not even from Australia, right?
No, I'm originally from Northern Ireland, Belfast.
Yeah. That's where you started breaking?
It is, yeah.
All right.
I was thinking about this because I knew you were going to ask me about like when I started breaking.
Yeah.
I actually remember when the original Rocksteady Crew album came out.
Right.
And that was in 1985. Yeah. So that places me about 5 years old. And my brother was doing a hang glide on it, on the actual album. He put the album on the carpet and hang glide on. Oh. So I remember breaking like long time ago. Like really long time ago. But I lived in like the country. You know, like I lived in fields and green grass. There was nothing happening at all. So it was really just something that I always did. You know, I was always flipping, I was always cartwheeling, I was always doing, you know, gymnastic type stuff like that.
Yeah, I see, because you're always doing like butterfly tricks.
Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, I always just watched action movies and just dove around the house and stuff and jumped over things and stuff like that. When I was in my teens, I was doing martial arts. I was doing jiu-jitsu, and I was heavily involved in doing displays. Basically, I was the guy who was thrown.
You were the dummy.
I was the dummy, yeah. Most of the guys in my class were like, they're really big guys. You know, they were like big, like plumbers and builders and stuff. Really, they were really big guys, and they came to martial arts to defend themselves, and they came to like, you know, be the hard guy. I was a small kid, so they just like throw me around and stuff like that. But I was really good at it. Yeah, they used to do this thing where they twist my wrist and I'd do like a full corkscrew and then land and then they kick me. But that was like, it was like being like Jackie Chan for like an audience. So I was doing this one time at this this festival, this like rave, like this like actually like rave, like a legal rave, and the Belfast City Breakers were there, and they just started busting down on grass, and they were all just like throwing themselves around. This is back in like in '96, and everything seemed to be like a power move suicide. Everything was like a power move and then a crash, but it was like on purpose, you know. And they were just going so hard, and then I just jumped in the circle and started throwing myself around as well.
Oh, yeah. And you didn't even like know how to break.
I had no idea, but no top rock, no footwork. Literally just like doing like wall flips and back springs and things like that there, and then doing like no handed somersaults and things like that, you know, like splashing down and stuff. And they're just like, yeah, come to check this out. So yeah, it's been another couple of years. I started going to Belfast for school and met up with them, and yeah, they just started.
Oh, you were going to school with them?
No, these guys were all. I was 16. They were all about 36, 37 at the time.
You went to a rave at 16.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice, man.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to raves since I was 12.
What?
Yeah.
Damn,
yeah.
beast.
my brother used to be a bouncer at this nice club, and my job, I was a glass lifter, and I would just walk around the club and dance and then lift some glass.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was doing that for a long time.
So you were always in the party scene as a kid, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like.
Been a different experience.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Lots of bar fights, lots of like, lots of drugs, lots of craziness. Back in the doof days.
Right. It's not stereotypical of Irish people to like be crazy, right?
It's kind of
always got the little man syndrome.
It's kind of something that they try to live up to sometimes. Right. Like, you know, my brother was definitely he's smaller than me, and he was the town psycho. He was like literally like he would just like fight non-stop all the time.
Damn, what is that? Something in the beer, man. In the Angus. In the is it
Guinness? In the Guinness. Yeah.
In the Guinness.
I'm not sure, man.
Isn't that? Watching footage of like when I went over to Maze's house and I did podcasts, and you showing me some footage of breaking. It seemed like no one really cared about crashing back then. Like no one didn't care. They just wanted to see the coolest flying moves. Doesn't matter if you crashed it or you landed it, but they wanted to see that crazy stuff. Is that what it was like as well?
I think it was a lot to do with like people not fully understanding the nature of the dance. That it's like a message. I think people were back in those days were really just trying to get to that move. You know, they were just trying to get to that one big move and just nail that part of it, and not really worry about the rest of it. So I remember like even watching Battle of the Year '95. Guys would crash in that, and they would just get back up and walk out and stuff. And it was more about like innovating the move than it was about communicating the whole message. You know, it was like back in the '90s. I remember it was like, oh, I can do a hand hop. Okay, well, I'll do it on the back of my wrist, and you know, like it was just that sort of elevation. You know, it was like it wasn't really. I even completed the move. It was just the attempt. You know, it was like sometimes I watch people like Vietnam, and they would do that terrorist tactic stuff, and you're like, that didn't look good, but I respected you went for it, sort of thing, you know. So yeah, that was a lot of what the European scene was about. It was about like people really just pushing those moves. Yeah. It
seemed like they that only came later on, where people were like, hey, we shouldn't crash. Like, let's try and make the whole thing look nice.
Worldwide.
That came later on.
Yeah, worldwide that happened around about 2003, 2004, and that's when Alien S started doing tours and really laying things out. Like really laying things out in a real way. I did a workshop with Alien S, and we hung out for quite a few times. We hung out in Edinburgh, and just the nature of how he approached the dance and represented himself was so different from what we were doing.
Wow. So when was that, and what was it like? Yeah.
The workshop?
Yeah.
So I did a workshop with him in around 2003 in Edinburgh, Scotland, and he did a 3-week workshop thing where he did workshops for 2 days for 3 weeks, and we did them all back to back to back to back, and it was really insightful. I mean, to be honest, the stuff that he taught us was all fundamentals, just learning how to do the proper CC, learning how to do the proper baby, learning how to do all the fundamentals. But his approach and his his way of representing himself, like the way he talked about it. We used to go to clubs as b-boys, and we'd literally get in there at, the club would open at 9, we'd be in there at 9:01, and then finish at 2, and we'd be out there like literally to 2 o'clock, dancing, sweating, rolling around on the floor, just going hard. And people would sort of resent us for us. Alien S would turn up to the club for 10 minutes and go hard for 5 minutes and then leave, and everybody would be like, wow, did you see that guy? Did you see that sort of impact he had, you know? He knew how to like, to
do
do
it.
it.
Want to look bad though. Like like, I don't know if you read his book, The Art of Battle.
Yeah,
the
Art of Battle. Yeah. I haven't read it now.
Yeah, it talks all about that, you know, the presentation of it and stuff. You
Yeah.
don't want to look tired. You don't want
That's-
to look sloppy.
yeah.
You can't do it. Don't do it.
That's
Save
it,
your
yeah.
energy.
And he taught that to a lot of people around the world, and things changed nearly overnight. You know, it was literally like I'm not gonna come and get my shirt dirty anymore, or I'm not gonna like, you know, over sweat and things like that. You know, I want to come and people were doing things like they would come to jams and they would stretch for 3 hours and, you know, do their practice and things like that. And Alias changed all that for a lot of people in the world. Yeah. So whenever I did his workshop with him, I just realized, you know, there was quality in what I was doing, but there's definitely less is more in most cases. You know, you gotta hold back a lot more of it.
Yeah. I agree. Seems like he's a lot more to do with presentation and stuff. Because I think it's needed to have those places where you need to stretch and train, but locked, like in a locked at home by yourself or in a studio or something with other.
I mean, it's kind of like stepping on stage every time you step out. You know, if you step down on stage and then start warming up, people are like, come on, get to the show, sort of thing. You know.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course.
So
sure, absolutely. Prep.
Yeah. So
we went on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
But from when you were in high school, right?
Kind of high school, yeah.
You were in high school.
Yeah.
And then you were hanging out with Belfast Breakers.
City Breakers. Yeah, yeah.
How was that? What was going on through there? How did your journey start from there? Like, and then breaking and then coming to Perth? Yeah,
well, breaking in Belfast was something that happened every once in a while. It wasn't something like a weekly training session. It would happen every once in a while. And because I lived in the country, I would literally just travel back and forth for those happenings. Basically, it was really, really slow going. Most of those guys were already my age now, and they're full-time jobs and families and stuff like that, so they didn't have a lot of time for breaking. But when they got together, it was like a celebration. You know, we'd have like a full day of it. We'd have a full like day of breaking, then we'd go to the nightclub and we'd break all night and stuff like that. So it was really, really good. It felt genuine and felt like real hip-hop culture, you know, which is really hard to find in Ireland. And another thing that was really prevalent back then was, it was a time in Ireland called the Troubles, where we were having this sort of civil war between Catholic and religious ideas. And this was a mix of guys from both sides. And in my life, prior to that part, it was very important to know who was who. And when we got together, all that sort of disappeared straight away. So it was a really big thing, you know, like that integration, that sort of like we could be friends with people from the other side, really was a big impact.
Wow. Yeah. See the power of that.
It was huge.
Hip-hop, man, brings people together.
Yeah, I mean, Belfast Breakers did that for an entire generation of people. It's really hard to explain to people who have never been in Belfast, but there are literal like 15, 20-foot walls that divide streets, because people will actually fight if they meet in the streets.
What?
Oh, it's huge. Especially back there in the 90s, there was a lot of violence between, you know, just random sort of violence between people in the streets and stuff like that. And of course we had the paramilitaries and all that sort of happening with bombs and stuff like that going off. So it was pretty intense. And then when you could get together with people and that didn't matter, it was huge. Yeah, it was really huge. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so they helped a lot of people sort of bridge that sort of mindset.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's rough.
It is pretty rough. I mean, it's hard for people to sort of imagine, especially coming from Australia, because you know, it's just so free over here, and it's, the ideas and the mindset is so free over here. But you know, it took me a long time to shake some of those things, like not having people walk behind me or
You're
things like
I'm
that.
not in Belfast anymore.
Yeah,
man. Stop roaring.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to sort of like shed all that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you come to Australia? Like, what was your
So
motive?
basically, I lived in Ireland until I was 21, and then I decided I was going to go travel throughout Europe. And my sister lived in London, so I went to London, I went to Scotland, I went to Paris, I went to Switzerland, I went to Amsterdam, and just sort of did like little stints here and there and stayed around. And I was living in Scotland, and I was seeing this girl, and she was homesick. She lived in Perth. And she asked me to come back with her, and literally the best decision I ever made. I literally on the spot just said, yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
that was as much thought as I put into it.
Spontaneously.
Yeah.
Did you break at all when you were traveling around Europe?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you go to any events?
Yeah, most of the big ones, yeah.
What are the big ones you went to?
Well, UK B-Boy Championships was the one that I always went to. I went to IBE, but only after I came to Australia. Like I went back to IBE. Back then, jams were a lot less established. I never went to Battle of the Year, but Battle of the Year is kind of the pinnacle. But back then, jams were sort of sideshows. They were happening as part of concerts, so they were happening as part of like X Games, or they were happening as part of like something else that was going on. So it was a lot of those things. X Games, yeah, X Games, which is obviously sport, skateboarding, BMXing, stuff like that. They did a whole series of events throughout the UK, and I sort of bounced around them ones. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things happening, but it was always on a small scale. Yeah. Okay. But the great thing about that was I got to meet some amazing people who are really cultural relevant, like Hooch, who does the UK champs, Renegade, who teaches these Soul Mavericks, exactly. DJ Lacey, who's no longer with us, rest in peace. You know, and lots of other people who are really major part of the scene here. Yeah. So yeah, traveling around Europe was a lot of fun. But when I came to Australia, I just knew this is the spot. This is where you want to be. This is the spot. Yeah.
I've met actually a few Europeans lately, and they're like, oh yeah, I've met a few actually, and they were like, I live here now, and I don't want to go back. Like I love the beach, I love the sun, the people are nice here. It's pretty relaxed here, man. Yeah. Very relaxed. Yeah. It's too relaxed actually for me.
It is relaxed, yeah. First 6 months I hated here. Because I came literally from living in Edinburgh, which is like a cultural hub, and then I went to London after that, and like then Edinburgh and London are like 24-hour living. You can just do anything at any time. Yeah. And Perth used to close at 5 o'clock. It used to stop at 5 o'clock, and you couldn't get groceries on a Sunday. And all these little, like the buses would stop and things like this, and you're like, what is going on here, man? You know? Like, when I first flew into Australia, I flew in and all I could see was red dirt. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Because it was,
seeing all the kangaroos.
It literally looked like there was nothing here. Yeah. It was just like maybe a wooden house or something.
What year was that?
2005, 6.
2005, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's changed a lot, hey.
It has,
It's going to be big, man.
Yeah. It's changed and hasn't changed. It still feels like that small place. It still feels really like small, but really it's...
You think it's because everything's so spread out?
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Because I feel like we're like one of the only cities that we have to rely so much on cars.
Yeah, you can't live without it. No chance. Yeah, I did that for a long time. I used to teach pretty much the same schedule I'm doing now, one a day, using transport. You know.
You can only teach once a day, man, because of the traveling.
Yeah, I would literally get up at 9 o'clock and get into the city, take a train to Fremantle or take a train to Mandurah, teach for like an hour, then get back on the train. Take me 3 hours to get home, and you're like, oh.
Okay. Did you start as a teacher when you came here?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
kind of. I took obviously like a little job in retail. Yeah. But the way it actually worked is I came here on a working holiday, and after a year they told me to leave. I was like, oh man, I didn't realize it was already a year. So they're like, you've got 2 weeks to leave, and I was like, I got no chance of being sponsored. I've got no way of getting any abridging visa. So what I did was I opened my own company, and then I sponsored myself as an employee of that company. And basically, it allowed me to stay in Australia, and that company was a dance company.
Right. Because the way, if you want to stay here as a resident, you have to have a business, right?
Kind
that's
of,
one
yeah.
of the ways.
One of the ways, yeah, one of the
You're
ways.
married or
Yeah.
kids.
Basically, you have to have some sort of like financial ties here. And being here for a year, I didn't have any of that, so I just sort of put together a quick business and stayed.
That's cool, man. It kind of
pushes
you, right?
Yeah, it definitely worked.
Now go to business.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly what happened. It's like okay, what skills have you got? I can do breaking. Okay, let's start a business doing breaking, and then just make it up as you go along.
Yeah,
you know, and literally now this is like my 10th year in business.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 10th year where I've been employed by myself to teach breaking.
Good on you, man.
It's kind of awesome.
Awesome.
It is. I mean, because I never thought that would happen.
Nah.
No.
Not at all.
You know, and it's not something that's easy, but it's something that I'm 100% behind.
Yeah.
You know, there's no day where I wake up and go, I'm not this again.
Yeah.
Like it's every day I just want to get up and teach. You know, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so since 2005, you landed here in Perth, and you're still chilling for a year, and you're like, I gotta start a business. So 06. When did you meet Zou Rock Crew? Like, wait, you
straight away. Straight away. So the very first person I ever contacted was Ippy.
Right.
The funny story about that is I just come from London, and London is like this hardcore place. You go to train in London, you go to your corner and you don't say anything to anybody unless they come to you, and it's really really aggressive. You know, like they have different boroughs in London, and they all go to this one training session, and you can see them sort of like itching to fight each other. There's like this real energy to them. So I just come from doing that, and I was like, okay, right, game face on, I'm gonna meet these new B-boys. I was like, yo, what's up? We called Eppie on the phone. Yo, what's up? I'm Beast, I'm from Ireland. And he's like, hey man, how's it going, dude? He's just so friendly. I was like, what the hell? He's like, yeah man, come on, I'll meet you. He's like rolled out the red carpet for me, like met me at the train station, introduced me to everybody, and I was like, this is weird, dude. These guys are too friendly, you know?
Yeah, Ippy is very nice.
Oh yeah, he's super nice, and you know, it really made me feel welcome, you know. And the first day I was there, I had a battle, and people were giving you props and stuff.
First day you rocked up?
First day I rocked up at the bridge,
nice.
Battled, probably don't even remember him. There's a guy called Simon. We used to call him 0.5. Yeah, piece to 0.5.
0.5,
yeah.
What crew was he in?
He wasn't really part of a crew. A bit of a soloist. He used to hang out with Gabby and those guys.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The systematic kind of guys?
Kind of, not really. More like sort of juniors underneath sort of thing, like, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Zou Rock were so welcoming, and I literally just clung on to them and hung around with them. We used to go everywhere. Like,
who was it that were in Zou Rock at that time?
At that time in Perth, it's pretty much everybody who's still in Zou Rock. The only person who's no longer in Zou Rock is Robski. So there was Robski, Edit, Erico, Ippy, Natty, and there was one at Taco, but he wasn't really in Perth at the time. So it's just those guys really. Oh, so excuse me. Mida Man was here. Mida Man. You haven't met Mida.
No, I always hear about this guy, but I never met this guy.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Zou Rock is like none of them were alike. Completely different, you know. Like Eddie was the smoothest guy in the world. He just like had everything placed perfectly in the perfect form, and he'd just burn you at the right time. And Mida was like this wild man who just like run around and throw himself on the ground and
just run circles,
just do crazy stuff, you know. Like everything it did looked like it was the first time I ever thought of it. It looked that inspired, you know. It just looked like he's never done that before in his life, and he just throw himself around and stuff. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. And of course, Ippy and Natty were at the top of that stage. You know, they were like really, really well respected in Australia and battling hard and winning. Yeah. So it was really, really an honor to be with them.
Was it more of like what was the styles going on? Because it was power moves, right?
Mm.
And then
Not
through that
really, not
transition,
really. It was more fundamentals, more fundamentals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
more fundamentals and more sort of being tricky with the text, like taking the basic steps and adding your twist to them, especially back in that sort of 2005, 2006, 7 sort of era. It was about doing the basic power, but also adding your flair to it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I think the style nowadays is kind of like you have to have a mix of everything, but the style nowadays is to do the move as it's meant to look. You know, you're meant to do the flares the way it's meant to look. Back in those days, it was meant to be as unique as possible.
Yeah.
You know, if you did the flare the same way as somebody else, it was kind of almost biting. You know, even though it was a universal move, like people were doing all types of crazy crooked positions for their freezes to look different and all this stuff. So it was like taking that textbook fundamental step and then adding that little twist or quirk to it. That was kind of the style back then.
Yeah, okay, changing it up, making like variations of a certain move and
Yeah,
stuff.
making variations.
I see that because
Yeah.
I think when I first started, I just wanted to make a variation of every single thing that I learned, like the fundamentals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it felt like as well. All right, and well, yeah. So you're going on through there, and then I popped up. No.
No, you didn't count. You're like, when did you start breaking?
2013.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. 2013.
Were you at the first Zou Rock anniversary?
No.
You weren't? Oh wow, so you started around by that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I missed out on all the metal jams.
You did?
When I first started, I went to go see the last one. Yeah, the last one, and that was it. But I wasn't breaking then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Metal jams were good. I mean, it's really hard to believe that all of these things happened in Perth, and nothing's happening now. Well, not that nothing's happening now, but there was so much support for them back then, and there was so much of a following. But nowadays, it's so small again. It goes through these waves of, people being involved and not being involved. Seasons almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's you, Zou Rock Crew, and Systematic. It seems like you guys, when I first started, were the guys that were always involved, making events and making events happen and just creating stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of work, and it's sometimes thankless work. But yeah, I mean, it's very important. It's very important just to do it for yourselves, especially when we're coming forward to things like the Olympics. The more we put behind it now, the better it's going to be in the future. The more we establish it here in WA now, the better it's going to be whenever it does explode on television and becomes a worldwide phenomenon again.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, Ergo was probably the main guy doing events back in those days. And Systematic would do an event every once in a while. It was really just for fun, to be honest. There was no status in it back then. It wasn't like anybody was trying to be the king of Perth or anything. It was really just like, let's all enter the jam, which is very different from most places. Most places, it matters. When I lived in Scotland, if they had a jam, it mattered. They were putting in serious effort towards it, and the winner might suffer the consequences of not being liked and not sort of being included in other things. It matters in other places, but here in Perth, it's so community. It's so
nice.
It was really friendly.
Yes.
It was really friendly, and
so like welcomed when you came in.
Definitely.
Like, even as me, man.
Yeah.
Like
we used to have a lot of people pass through as well. A lot of people pass through Perth and visit, and they would just become part of the crew for a while, and then they would disappear and move off. We kept those connections all throughout the world, So yeah, it really grew the Perth scene as well.
Yeah.
But,
dude, all those people that came by really did help grow the scene. I
definitely.
mean, I can only think back as far as when I started, but Da Vinci were those guys that were foreigners, and they brought like a spark, right?
And sometimes what happens with the people coming in is they don't have that Perth mentality, and they want to be the best, and it puts a light on the rest of us, like, oh, we can't have this person come in and be better, so we have to raise our standards as well, you know. I remember that happening with Da Vinci, because when they came in, they all came in separately.
Yeah.
They were all just international students and stuff, and then they formed together. It was like, oh, okay, now it's serious, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's the fun of breaking, is like, you know, is actually having that sort of rivalry, having that something to fight against, or, you know.
Because it always, like, when I first started and I was just watching the battles, it's always Da Vinci versus Zou Rock in the finals.
Yeah.
But you guys always beat them.
They were roasting us most of the time.
Yeah,
they were roasting us.
They were doing some crazy stuff. I don't know if you remember, Ippy made a video earlier this year.
The infamous one, yeah, where they get caught from behind.
Yeah, some cringy moments.
It is, yeah. But I was watching Han today, and it's his style, you know. His style is that flamboyant style, and you know. But yeah, I mean, it brought something different to the scene, and it made everybody else sort of think about what am I needing to add to my style, yeah. So hopefully when we get COVID over and done with, we'll have a lot more guests here in Perth, and yeah.
It's so nice to have, like, it's like a fresh breath of air, man. Just seeing someone new come in and show their style. Before COVID, man, we've had a lot of people from France.
Yeah, a lot of French, a lot of German, a lot of Japanese, Korean, yeah. We've had so many people visit us and who've really been sort of like impacted by Perth, and has stayed in touch with us and stayed like connected to Perth for the entire journey. Even though they're not breaking anymore, but just their time in Perth. It is somewhere special. When I first got here, I thought to myself, you know, this is paradise. Like, it really is beautiful. And I remember watching the first promos for Yalta Summer Jam. Have you seen Yalta before?
Yeah.
Yalta is kind of in the same predicament as Perth. It's isolated, it's in the middle of nowhere. But somehow all the best b-boys in the world managed to get there and have this epic jam. And I always thought, man, Perth's pretty hard to get to, but if we got everybody here in this spot, what an epic location, what an epic jam it would be, you know? It would be amazing. So yeah, that's kind of what I've always been dreaming and working towards, is getting that radical force type event happening here in Perth.
Same, man. That would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
Isolated paradise.
Yeah, I mean, when the guys came across for the Zou Rock anniversary, you know, they spent the entire time just like lounging and enjoying the heat and really having a holiday. And if you could mix the holiday and have the jam together, it's a perfect storm, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's there's a battle of you, actually.
Yeah.
So let's actually go through this. There's
an
actual battle.
So just to premise this, I put this battle on to show people what not to do.
What not to do.
What not to do.
Okay.
Is this the metal jam? Okay, so just before we start this was a 10-round battle.
Oh, should we do this one?
I'll do the one first.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was a 10-round battle that Ippy was supposed to verse Edit. And Edit pulled out with 5 days notice.
Oh, why did he pull out?
I'm not sure.
He was scared, man.
I'm not sure. He was kind of busy, I guess. He just opened his shop, I think. And in the background here, we can see the judges, which is Just Rock, Jason from Adelaide, and Rush.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just Rock, Jason, and Rush.
Yeah. And the day before this event, I was working in a shop, and these 3 guys came into the shop just to visit me, and they started blowing smoke up my ass like crazy. We need somebody to do this jam. Beast can do it. Beast can go 10 rounds anytime he wants.
Oh, really?
He doesn't need any preparation. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need any preparation. Ippy didn't know who his opponent was supposed to be.
But Ippy was training for it, right?
This is the metal jam, and basically the winner stays on. Ippy had been the winner for like 10 jams in a row.
Oh my god!
So he was totally unbeatable, and
that's when he got the name the King.
Yes,
The King.
Well, he got the King long before that, but he was unbeatable at this stage, and I was like, okay, step up. So we get to this jam, which is in CDA, and it's in the middle of, I think it was November by this time. It was 32 on the day. This place has no aircon, just these little fans. And I've been in there for an hour, ciphering hard. Ippy just turned up. And Erico goes, let's start the competition. I'm like, okay, let's start the competition. So you'll see it, we'll play the video now.
Gassed.
Yeah, I'm gassed.
Let's play it.
And Erico tries to give me an out here. He's like, you want a break? And I'm like, no mercy. Oh, where is it? Where is it at?
Oh,
I'll be gassed out after 3 rounds.
It's that B-boy attitude.
It is that
You're
attitude.
Like, yo, I'm invincible.
Yeah. So this is, just pause this a second. This is how you steal somebody's soul in the first round, okay?
Right,
This is Ippy stealing my soul in the first round.
Oh, this is how you steal someone's soul.
This is how you steal somebody's soul. So I'm going out,
Yeah.
trying to get myself confident.
Yeah. Why'd you go first if you were so tired?
I have no idea.
He was just hungry.
I was just hungry. I just wanted to surprise him. I guess it was maybe he was also the champion, so I had to go first.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. Drop.
Here comes the big mistake.
Oh, flick. Oh, he
Lose
dropped
the hat. Lose the hat.
Crash,
That's a crash. Now watch this. Watch this.
Ooh,
Watch
you know,
this.
if he's gonna play, if he plays all the time, he's gonna do. Ah! He kicks you out of
That's how you lose a battle in round 1.
He took your soul, bro.
He took my soul, man. That's it. Like you can see in my face, like I'm just like I'm like, what next? What can I do?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shoulder halos. Damn, trying to get that.
Yeah.
Oof, nice.
Ippy was literally on fire at that stage. This is when we just come back from Radical Force as well, and he'd done so well in the Seven to Smoke, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because he did Seven to Smoke 2014.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, okay. This is
Oh, was it maybe before that actually? Yeah. I just remember he's wearing Bounce's shirt.
Oh, is that Bounce's shirt?
Yeah.
Bounce gave him that
Bounce
shirt.
gave him that shirt.
That's an Aboriginal shirt. What's Bounce doing with that Aboriginal shirt?
I'm not sure. Ippy actually looked Aboriginal in it,
Yeah.
so he's completely roasting me here. You can see the hands on the hips already.
Ooh. In your face, man.
Look how tired I am. I'm so tired.
Hey. I like how you just in his face there. You got good battle presence. Oh. There's those conversations going
Do you know
on.
what I love about Ippy as well? Is he never lost his competitive edge. It's like I entered this battle almost like, hey, this is my friend Ippy, and we're gonna have a little exchange.
Yeah.
And Ippy entered this battle like, I'm gonna roast Beast. There was no softness.
No mercy,
Yeah,
man.
no mercy at all. He wanted to roast it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you gotta bring your A game if you're versing.
That's it, definitely. He never lost that desire either. Anytime anybody new came to Perth, he was like, I'm gonna join in with them because I wanna test myself
Yeah.
every single time.
Always, he knows how to test and push himself, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was training at King Street with him, he was always the guy to do rounds with.
Yeah.
Like, no one else would be able to, like, or want to push themselves like he did.
No. And it's really strange for me because he was never the type of guy who really coveted being good. It wasn't about his ego.
No.
It was really like a challenge thing for himself. It was really like, how much further can I push it?
Yeah, but he just loved that.
Yeah.
He loved it, hey. Oh,
Yeah.
that was cool.
You want to skip to the other battle?
Sure, man.
Oh, there's the beast crawl.
The beast crawl. I'm also just looking at how young everyone is.
Look at this. These are all my students here.
Are they?
Yeah,
Wow.
these are all my students here. Some really young people. Yeah.
Nice. Wow, man, that's so cool. It's so, look, I'm just looking at there's Mad Mike.
Yeah.
There's Da Vinci there.
Yeah. I guess.
Oh, Alex Tank, Jesse, Zeus. Right.
Yeah, there's Natty. There's Vince. There's so many people that are missing nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
There's the legendary CDA.
Yeah.
Respect to Ben Lee.
Ben Lee, man.
Yeah.
So I had that guy on the podcast.
I seen that.
last
Yeah,
time.
I seen that.
This was his studio.
Yeah, and this is another one that happened in the
This
studio.
is also his studio.
So.
Oh, we got Erico.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta get Erico on here.
We got Raz MCing, Edit,
Oh, that's
Benny.
Brad. I thought that was
Yeah. Edit, Benny Benz, and Rush on the judging. I put this video in because it's another hat feel, but it actually seemed to work out for me this time.
Oh, okay. More
so
hat tricks.
More hat tricks.
Yo, man, you did a hat trick a couple months ago at YMCA, and that was killer against those crumpers.
Oh really? Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
So this is where it goes. This is where it goes wrong and right at the same time.
So this was BC1 final.
This is the BC1 finals. Yeah, it was me versus Aaron in the finals.
Oh, what a catch! What a catch! That was a fluke, bro.
That was a total fluke. Total fluke. I just love Raz. Like, you are so lucky.
Nice.
Again, this is a battle where we again gassed ourselves out in the heat. Aaron's gassed as well, I can tell. He just battled 3 rounds straight before this.
Oh.
And he was gassed, but yeah. I pretty much crashed every single round and recovered.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, Aaron was bad, man.
Oh, crash.
Yeah, we're sort of we're very sluggish at this point. Again, CDA was a great location, but no aircon whatsoever, and it could get really stuffy in there.
Yeah.
Really stuffy. So I put the mock neck on.
Oh, right. That's an actual power move jumper.
It is, yeah, but don't do it power moves.
Oh, swipe. Oh. Other way. On the beat.
Kind of. Again, look at all the crowd. There's Mike and Stu at the back there.
Oh, right, yeah.
So many people are like, who were so involved and no longer here.
Oh, man, this is what
Do you think you'll ever quit?
No.
No, I don't think you'll ever.
I can't. I wouldn't. Because it's me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's my identity in a way.
Yeah.
It's not for any recognition of anyone else. It's just what I feel like, you know. Like, I love dancing, man. Like, I listen to music. I can't help myself, you know.
Yeah. I always wonder about people who quit. Do they still do that stuff at home? Do they still feel it? And or is it just something they completely shut off?
Yeah.
I know some people who shut it off completely.
Yeah, there would be some people, but I think guys like Erico, who were just contributed so much, I don't think they would fully shut off.
No.
Like, I know that guy, every now and then, maybe if it's once a month, he would get down at home.
Yeah. Oh, as soon as you get Erico at a wedding party or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I gotta have Erico in here. The guy's got a kid now.
Yeah. Erico is probably the one person who has contributed the most to Perth breaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not even just for events, but just for like people as well.
Yeah,
he did so much for me, man. He used to drive me home from training.
Same.
That guy, awesome.
When the first 2 years I lived in Perth, I was literally picked up and dropped off every day by Erico.
Wow.
You know? And the guy would work super hard all the time. You know?
Yeah.
You know, he'd study hard, he'd work hard, and he'd party hard. Yeah. So yeah.
Who won that?
Aaron won it, but we both ended up going to the finals, which is in
really?
Melbourne. Yeah, in Melbourne.
Oh shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
Stop sharing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
so basically I
okay.
put those videos on the show, kind of not what to do.
Not what to do.
Yeah, what not to do. There's a sort of a science to breaking and how you should approach it, and if you're practicing, do what you want. But if you come to a battle, you need to have yourself prepared, like every athlete has himself prepared for a big sport. You know, you know, and basically in both of those videos, the competition didn't matter to me. It was more about being part of it and ciphering and going hard. So if you want to do competitions, do it smart. You know, have the right water, have the right rest, prepare, get the right everything you need.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
There's so many more videos I could have shown you. Videos where people have done stupid crashes and stuff like that. My crew, we have so many little in-joke stories and videos to share around, little things.
I would love to have seen
I can't show you those because it's not me. It's not me. But there are some serious like YouTube crash moments out there.
Oh,
So yeah. I challenge everybody to come on and do your own video, do your own crashes.
That's the thing. I want to see people's videos now. Actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of history out there. There is, and I mean, a lot of it doesn't get shared. You know.
No, that's it. So that's why I want to actually share that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much
That's
for
okay.
sharing everything.
That's okay, man. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Thank you. I just
Cool.
want to express my gratitude for you, everything that you're doing, man.
Thanks, bro.
Breaking traditions, Zou Rock, Australian Breaking Associations.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Big respect to you once
And
again.
respect to you also, man. For like what you're doing. You know, it's like I said, it's thankless work, and it doesn't seem like it matters now. But putting this stuff on tape and recording this stuff and having these conversations doesn't happen without you. And you know, it is important to remember this stuff. You know, as breaking evolves, as breaking becomes a more established thing, as people sort of become more involved in it, the history is going to matter, and people who record the history are going to matter as well. So. Big respect, man.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much,
All right.
man.
Before we go, just want to give a shout out to everybody in Perth, everybody in West Australia putting it down. There's a big scene over here. There's a lot of love, and let's keep sharing that, man. Let's keep on spreading it.
Let's keep doing it.
Peace.
Peace, guys.
Nice,
Thank
man.
you, man.